Time now for Texas football on Longhorn Network. 500th game at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. And for the first time in a while, we've got a late season game here in Austin with championship implications, not just for Texas, but equally for Iowa State as well. Because just a little bit ago, Oklahoma State upset West Virginia, meaning the winner of this game now has to win the regular season finale, and they will be in the Big 12 championship game if Oklahoma also beats Kansas in the game that's going on right now. With that, hello and welcome into Austin, Texas, everybody. Loa Galindo here with my guy, Ahmad Brooks.
Up,
and it was an unreal moment.
It was.
Unreal to see it unfold. The players for both sides were on the field when Oklahoma State upset West Virginia. There was a visible reaction, especially from Texas. Sam Ehlinger talked to the team, and they quickly went back to the locker room. Both sides now know what's on the line.
Well, the stakes are high, and I think if you've been dreaming about this as a young boy of playing for your team and having an opportunity for a conference title, it's out for them right now. And you've got two outstanding quarterbacks. You've got an Iowa State defense that's one of the best in the country, and a Texas defense that needs to play better if they're going to beat the Cyclones tonight.
The only time the Cyclones have won here in Austin, 2010, when Tom Herman was the OC. Here's Chris Button with the head coach of the Longhorns.
Coach, as your seniors run out of the tunnel for the final time in this stadium, what was your message to them?
Oh, they've got an opportunity to leave their legacy tonight. They've already done so much for this program and taken it, headed in the right direction, and they've got an opportunity tonight to solidify that.
For Ehlinger tonight, going up against one of the top defenses in the conference, what will be important for him to remember?
Well, not one of the best defense in the conference, and to be patient, be aggressive, not reckless, and patient. They're really, really good, and we got to wear them down.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Hey, two great coaches. Well, let's cut to the chase now. The reason these programs are here, quarterback play, and Texas has a really good one in Sam Ehlinger.
He's put this team on his back, and the thing that has been most amazing to me is the fact that you look back at his last season's struggles where he had some costly turnovers and key ball games that he had gotten them back into with his play, and he wasn't able to seal the deal. This year, this has been a completely different Sam Ehlinger. This young man is on fire, one of the hottest quarterbacks in the country. I love his moxie, his makeup. We knew this kid wanted to be here, and you heard Tom talk about him being patient. If he protects the football today and picks this defense apart, Texas will come out the victor.
We've both seen this Iowa State team play multiple times. High praise for what the Cyclones are doing.
Oh, yeah. 5
straight wins in Big 12 play. They are in the conversation to win a conference championship for the first time since 1912, and the precursor to what was the Big 8. But they will have to do so without David Montgomery, the most elusive running back in the Big 12, second leading rusher in the conference. He's out the first half, suspended after a fight in the Baylor win in the second half last week. So how will that impact the Cyclones' chances here in Austin? Texas has won the toss. They will defer. Cyclones will start with the rock first. And that will go over the head of Kene Nwangu. So Brock Purdy and Iowa State will start at the 25-yard line. No correlation when it comes to the Cyclones and getting the dominance back. It's not by chance, it's because of this man. They were up to a 1-3 start. Purdy gets in the second series against Oklahoma State. They have not lost with him as the primary or starting quarterback.
I love this kid's makeup. I love his moxie. He's got a lot of confidence. He's got his entire team playing with that same confidence. And Purdy is a dual-threat quarterback that can be deadly and dangerous when he gets hot.
Nwangu will get the start with David Montgomery out in the first half. And immediately to Nwangu, and Anthony Wheeler is there.
And that's something that Texas didn't do well last week, was tackle players in space and on initial contact. That was a great open field tackle there from Anthony Wheeler.
Purdy will keep. And about a 4-yard gain on the play to set up a third and manageable. And that's another element to Purdy's game.
Well, I mean, that pump fake, you're going to see it all night tonight. And when he gets into that play, he really does duke defenders. And this kid has natural instincts to run. You know, he's not Kyler Murray up the road at Oklahoma, but he's got just enough juice to make things happen and to convert on downs like that.
3rd and 5. Can Texas defensively figure this out on 3rd down? They have been one of the worst teams in the nation here the past few weeks. And that is a pitch and catch to the go-to receiver, Akeem Butler, the best big play receiver in the Big 12 and in college football.
I love this kid. I think he's the best wideout in the country. He's big, he's physical. That's a nice route for a guy with that type of length. He's got to really sink his hips and get into that cut, and he did exactly that. If you're Devontae Davis and you're Chris Boyd, you got your hands full tonight.
Purdy thinking about it. He will keep, but he is wrapped up quickly. And B.J. Foster and Charles Omenihu are there.
That's good team defense. And B.J. Foster, you know, what can you say about he and Caden Stearns? You got 2 freshman safeties back there lining up, taking on this offense and trying to be the lid of this defense. And that's a great start for B.J. Foster to come up, get your hands on the quarterback, force him inside, and let Omenihu clean him up.
And for Iowa State fans, he will play the equivalent of Greg Eisworth's position for the Texas defense. 2nd and 9. There's the pump fake. Chris Boyd makes Purdy throw it away.
Did that get back to the line of scrimmage? Not quite sure, and I think he was still in the pocket. And I think they're discussing it right now.
No foul on the play for intentional grounding. Number 24 was in the area.
Well, Tom's asking the same question. I mean, look at it. This is a close play. I don't believe he's outside of the pocket now. He's got to get outside of that tackle box. I think he's still in there, and that ball doesn't appear to cross the line of scrimmage.
One of those plays that Boyd simply has to finish, but it's tough with Brock Purdy. 3rd and 9. Malcolm Roach will try to chase him down. There is the pump fake, and Anthony Wheeler brings him down behind the line of scrimmage. And Texas defensively comes through on 3rd down.
Anthony Wheeler, if they can get him going in the middle. We've seen flashes of a guy that has NFL potential, but watch the closing speed here. The ability to really get outside and finish the play. That's what's most important. And now you force this Iowa State offense to punt. And if you're Sam Ehlinger, you want to be off to a fast start. Wheeler and this defense with a great charge to get them off the field.
Corey Dunn to punt it away to Deshaun Jameson. He's got 1 punt return for a touchdown this season, and that was against Kansas State. Flag on the play as this rolls down around the 25. Opening drive, you got to look at the quote from Tom Herman. He's being very aggressive without being reckless. That has been the difference with Sam Ehlinger this year, and he has been his best in the biggest games. One of the biggest moments for him, the touchdown toss to little Jordan Humphrey to win it on the road in Lubbock last week.
He's having a legendary sophomore campaign, and that patience has really paid off for him, and he'll need it tonight.
Trey Watson getting the start in the backfield. And Watson up the middle. Check yardage on 1st down. 9 yards on the carry. Now it's time for the Dell Children's Impact Players, brought to you by Ascension Dell Children's.
Well, it looked like Watson got the start. Little Jordan Humphrey will be on the outside edge or in the slot, making tons of plays.
Bottom of the screen, Colin Johnson is back after missing Texas Tech, and he comes up, first target, first reception.
That is a very, very good sign for this Texas offense as they get into their tempo offense. Iowa State, one of the best teams in the nation at limiting people from explosive plays. That time there, Colin Johnson winning a one-on-one matchup, and Ehlinger finding that matchup.
Smaller corners for this Iowa State defense. Large receivers for Texas. Check down and a big thud made by Mike Rose. Fantastic freshman linebacker.
Oh, this kid can play now. And you'll see him all over the field today. And he plays with the level of aggression that you're supposed to when you're the meat in the middle. And he flies around sideline to sideline. And when he gets there, like he just did there, he will make sure he forces your face in the dirt.
The Cyclones defense starts inside with number 76, the nose guard, Ray Lima. He sets up everything. Back to Watson. Left side and brought down quickly by Marcel Spears.
And this Iowa State defense, which has really set the Big 12 on its head by running a 3-3-5 alignment. has opted to put more numbers in the box. It appears as though to me that the defensive coordinator, Haycock, is really forcing numbers in, trying to prevent them from running the football early in the ball game. And I believe a lot of that has to do with Sam Ehlinger's ability to also run the football.
3rd and 6, but the nation's leading receiver on 3rd down, little Jordan Humphrey, is not in. Ehlinger steps up. He's got Johnson. Trying to make a move. He's into the red zone. 13 yards for the 6'6" target.
Let's just go ahead and compliment the play calling now. When you have teams that drop back in numbers, one of the hardest things to do in underneath coverage is to pass a route on from one man to the next. When you run those crossing routes, it either provides bait where you can get in the back of a defender, or you don't know when to carry and how far to carry over, and Texas taking advantage of that.
Iowa State, 5th best red zone defense in all of college football. The bullet looking for Johnson, but it was Braxton Lewis in coverage. So we heard from Tom Herman right off the top. This is the best defense in the Big 12, and it's been such a turnaround for John Haycock in his 3rd season.
I really like what they're doing. I mean, a season ago, they revamped their entire defense headed into the Texas game, and since that time, they have put up some phenomenal numbers. They limit teams. Typically, when you're going up against this defense, it's a scary thing.
Ehlinger will keep. Patience with the run. He's got clearance. How many moves can he make? Tough to take Sam Ehlinger down.
You know, let me go ahead and say it. When you remember what Tim Tebow looked like at 6'3", 235 pounds, this kid is the exact same size. I think he's got more wiggle, but he's also strong. Lower base allows him to run through tacklers.
Quickly to the line, into Watson, who's brought down for a loss by Spears.
That's a costly play, because down here, you never want to go backwards. It's just something about scoring in the red zone. It's extremely difficult, and to that point, Iowa State is one of the best teams in the nation at limiting points once you get inside of the 10. Part of that is because they force the defensive backs are taught to have them throw the ball over their head. They use that back line as a 12th defender, and they are very stingy. They like to bring the blitz down here, and they will heat up the pocket if a quarterback decides that he wants to sit back there and pick them apart.
Humphrey now checks in, as well as the true freshman Malcolm Epps. Empty for Ehlinger. He's following Calvin Anderson. Ehlinger in zone. Texas strikes first. Touchdown on the year for Sam Ehlinger. The last quarterback to do that, Colt McCoy, and historic 2009 season.
This is called off schedule. I'm not even sure if Tom called that play. I think Sam Ehlinger knew that they dropped back numbers, and he knew that that allowed him to be able to run the football. It appeared to me as he just decided, I'm taking this in, I'm finishing, and that is why number 11 has decided to really pick up his game. He's put these Longhorns on his back, carrying them into the end zone, and been carrying them all season long.
At times, Sam Ehlinger looks like he's cutting at about half speed, but somehow he finds a way to make people miss. Got into the end zone to give Texas the early lead, 7-0.
Yeah, and that was a design run. I thought it was him audibling and checking off, and Tom Herman and Tim Beck decided to put it in 11's hands, and he came through. I mean, those are the types of plays that if you really want to win your teammates over, and you really want to prove that you are the guy and you're the next great one here at this university, you make those plays and you're well on your way.
It's so big, too, for the Texas defense to start off with a stop. No team in America had allowed more opening drive points than the Longhorns. Nwangu fumbles that, gets it back, and he's still got some room to work up to the 35-yard line. Up the middle, strong run on first down for a pickup of 5. And there is Matt Campbell, last year's Big 12 Coach of the Year. He has done a phenomenal job with this Cyclones program, taking them to places they have not been in a long, long time. Purdy wants to throw over the middle, and that is brought in by Tariq Milton, a redshirt freshman from Texarkana, back in his home state. Caden Stearns with the stop.
How about Purdy? sitting in that pocket, moving around, and that was a dart down the middle of the field. An intermediate route that he zipped in there on target as the Cyclones get a fresh set of downs.
No Brandon Jones in the Texas secondary. He's been battling a reoccurrence of an ankle issue that popped up in the first game of the season against Maryland. Johnny Lang, the running back, flanking Purdy. They go to Lang. He's got a seam to the right side and a first down run for Johnny Lang.
Well executed. You know, that's that eye candy as they move the motion across. These young safeties, you know, they're still learning. And so they come all the way across the field. It occupies some space on the back end, and the Cyclones found it.
Cyclones using tempo. Purdy is flush. Stearns brings him down for the sack.
It's two freshmen, two outstanding freshmen. Perhaps two guys that'll be mentioned in the freshman All-American. Caden Stearns has been a playmaker back there. And Tom told us yesterday, he said, the one thing that these young guys, B.J. Foster in particular and Caden Stearns are working on is to how to manage all these games at playing at this level. Caden Stearns has lost some weight. They want him to make sure that he stays bulky where he can still tackle very forcefully.
First sack of Stearns' career. Some question whether he would be able to go in this game after he left late against Texas Tech after taking a big collision. To Nwangu, who's met immediately by Charles Minahu. He told us he needs to play the best game of his career tonight.
Oh, it's easy for him. I mean, he's hot as fish grease right now. I mean, the kid really struggled early on, and you saw him there just fight off a blocker. He's finally starting to play like a true NFL prospect, and he'll make an NFL team happy. He's long, he's a good young man, and I think he's got a bright future.
To Crony. Crony will not have the yardage. A third down stop for the Texas defense. We got to consider, past 3 games, they were allowing 57% on third down. Only 2 teams in the bowl subdivision worse in that 3-game stretch.
Ouch, that hurts. And third downs are about making your individual play, as this is a big win for them. You know, and anytime you can get inside of the 30 and force teams to a field goal, if you're as a defense as a whole, you've certainly done your job.
Here's Connor Asali. Will it come back into the uprights? It does. Started left, gets it to fade back in, and Asali gets the Cyclones on the board. But Texas with a 7-3 lead. So for Iowa State fans who made the trip to Austin, they were probably a little bit surprised because this game day atmosphere looks like a 180 from anything they've seen in the past.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference
I agree.
in the energy inside the stadium.
Yeah, it's great to see that. And then also the student section full before kickoff.
Watching them watch Oklahoma State and West Virginia was a pretty special moment. Humphrey from the 5. Wrapped up just shy of the 30. Keontae Ingram checks in at running back for the first time. Ehlinger looking at taking a shot, instead checks it down to Ingram. Good receiver out of the backfield. You know, we talked to Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator, and he described the running backs as essentially solid, effective, but what he is most impressed with, their ability to catch out of the backfield.
Well, that's that safety net for a quarterback. Especially when they're dropping numbers back like Iowa State is known for. They want to make you work for everything you get. And Sam Ehlinger right now is making really, really good decisions by checking that ball down and not taking an unnecessary shot.
4 or 5 to start. Ingram now with his first carry. Give him 4 yards in the first down. Mike Rose makes the stop on senior night here in Austin, Texas. 7-3 after 1. Longhorns with the edge. Welcome back to Austin. After the first quarter, Texas up on Iowa State 7-3 on a game that is so critical for both teams and their chances to reach the Big 12 championship game. Matt Campbell playing without David Montgomery, second leading rusher in the Big 12. Suspended for the first half for an ejection in the second half against Baylor. He will return after this quarter. Sam Ehlinger, 4 of 5, 57 yards. Scored his 30th touchdown of the year, the most for Texas since Colt McCoy in 09. I saw Willie Harvey peeking in. Andrew Beck now comes to the line. Another give to Ingram. Good push for 6 yards, refusing to go down again.
You know, Lowell, toughness is a mindset. And this week in practice, Tom Herman was very adamant. He spoke to you earlier in the week and he said, we're going to come out, we're going to put our pads on, we're going to tackle, we're going to get back to that. You know, oftentimes some coaches will take a step back, but he knew that in order for it to transition to the football field, you've got to do it every day on the practice field. It's got to be a mindset. You've got to learn how to fight through adversity, through pain. And this Texas team, despite them not showing much of it last year, this has been their theme and their motto all year long.
Ingram, another carry, so patient, silky smooth, breaks safe, out of the tackle, and then tries to lay the thud on Eisworth. So close to Ingram breaking free for the score. 20 yards for the freshman.
Oh, wow, look at this. I mean, this kid has a ton of potential. Yeah, and he's got the wiggle. He can hit the home run ball, but the toughness there from the freshman is what's impressive.
Ehlinger's going to throw, play action. Back to Ingram. This is his drive, but a big thud put on him by Marcel Spears.
So you've got 4 wide receivers out and 7 guys covering. So that just clogs the windows. So if you're Sam and you wonder, well, why is he checked down Charlie today? Because his defense is not giving up the big play. And so Sam is taking the right decision. That is excellent first down yardage, which now sets you up to continue to manage the sticks, chip away, and pick up those ever so important first downs.
Tim Beck told us 5-yard gain against Iowa State is a really good play.
Absolutely.
Patience, patience for Ehlinger. Here comes the blitz. Ingram gets a couple as Willie Harvey was coming strong.
And that's one thing that this defense does. They time their blitzes extremely well. And that usually means that a quarterback has to change up his cadence. The linebackers for Iowa State, they can all cover. I mean, they'll come up, they'll blitz you, they'll cover guys in underneath coverage. Very athletic bunch. That immediately when you watch film, you can understand why this defense plays so well against the run and the pass.
10th play of the drive. Second chance to convert on 3rd down. Ehlinger to Ingram. He's looking end zone. He's finding end zone. Keontae Ingram. Pay dirt.
Once again, Sam Ehlinger, outstanding decision. You've got to be patient, but you've got to be quick when you know you've got the right read. That time they're not hesitating, getting the ball out into the flat to his young freshman running back, Keontae Ingram. Ingram doing the rest, picking up blocks on the outside edge. And Texas right now really enforcing their will upon the Cyclones, coming out with some big plays and momentum.
And that is a gut punch of a drive. You want to make teams drive in the Big 12? How about 10 plays, 94 yards, and 7 points? Getting oh so close to finding out who the Final Four will be to play for the national championship. 14-3, Texas over Iowa State. As Keontae Ingram now has 76 total yards. True freshman from Carthage, looking healthy.
This kid has a high ceiling. You know, you saw there the toughness, and he got banged up earlier in the year. I thought he was really running and giving this team the spark. It looks like he's back to his top form.
Wagyu from the 4. Brought down after a short gain. Critical drive here for the Cyclones. Wagyu chased out by Chris Boyd. What do the Cyclones need to do to get this thing going?
Big play. You know, big play, or for Brock Purdy to do what he's done all year long and bring out that magic, you know, and do something that defies this defense, gets their momentum back on their side, because right now this Texas defense is playing with confidence. They're tackling better than they did a week ago, and they are applying pressure. That time they're stringing the play out, and there was nowhere to run for the running back.
Only 91 yards for the Cyclones. Texas has allowed at least 503 straight. 2nd and 16. Malcolm Roach nearly gets him. And extending to try to make the catch is Milton. It's incomplete.
And Purdy felt the pressure there coming off the edge from Malcolm Roach. And Chris Boyd in good coverage downfield. Now a 3rd and long situation. You can't give up a big play here. If I'm Todd Orlando, I drop numbers back. I keep everything in front of me. Here's where you need Charles Omenihu in a one-on-one situation to pin his ears back, go get the quarterback, or at least get a quarterback hurry.
Butler lined up inside. Purdy with time. And it sounds high. Is it picked off? Yes. Chris Brown with the interception. Number 1 for Chris Brown.
This starts with pressure up front. They bring a delayed blitz. Purdy, who's been rattled all night tonight, don't count him out yet, because it's exactly how where West Virginia had him too. The delayed blitz there, it gets pressure, doesn't allow him to get into that throw. And as a wide receiver, if the ball comes off your hand, you've got to make that catch. What about the athletic interception on the back end to haul in the play? And this Texas defense right now on fire as they hand the ball back out to Super Sam.
They are so depleted in the secondary right now, relying on young guys with not a lot of run to make those plays. Trick play to Gerard Hurd. He's got blockers. Well, the blockers can't stop Anthony Johnson. Little razzle-dazzle for the former quarterback.
Now check this out. Now I want you to watch this linebacker run for tack and toe for toe. Harvey. Look at this. When he just flat out flies. And that's what when you see this defense, that's what makes them so special. Their team speed, their effectiveness, the way that they tackle. That play should have worked on just about any defense. You had the edge.
Had the big boys out there, but
Absolutely.
the little guys for the Iowa State defense a lot more nimble.
Indeed.
Than the big guys in burnt orange. Loss of 2 on the play. Watson left side. Johnson gives him a good block. And he is tripped up and brought down by Lawrence White. Sophomore DB from Bakersfield, California. Trey Watson, the grad transfer from California. Cal Berkeley is where he played. From Corona, California. 115 rushing yards for the Longhorns in this second quarter. We're under a minute before the half.
Now I want you to look at the numbers inside of the box here. It's 5 on 4.
That's why Ehlinger can't find anybody. Until Devin Duvernay comes back to help out his quarterback, and that is a big 3rd and 5 conversion.
Now that's how you do it. Originally his route was intended to be downfield, but once you get in behind those underneath defenders, they don't see you. They don't have eyes in the back of their head. Duvernay doing the smart thing of working for his quarterback, working back to the ball and to the sideline, and Ehlinger finding him.
36 seconds left, 2 timeouts by the Longhorns. Ehlinger, play action, he's flushed and brought down by White. And you could tell Ehlinger was thinking on the way down, do I do something crazy right here?
Well, and here's go him playing with some moxie and then playing with also some awareness. He tucks that football back in. That's the right play to make. Hey, give your team and yourself another opportunity to fight this out. You're inside of the 2-minute drill. For quarterbacks, you're judged on how clutch you can be in these moments. And Ehlinger has, frankly, he's made a living this year in these moments, capitalizing on them.
He would have thrown that ball last year.
100%. And we all know what that probably would have led to.
So White comes up with the sack. First sack for him. Can Iowa State stay within striking distance, knowing they are getting the electric, the elusive David Montgomery back after halftime?
Now, you've got one timeout here, so when you look at how to manage the game, you still, some of the routes across the middle of the field are still on board. You still can pick up a first down inside of the 5.
Texas used their second to last timeout. More time for Ehlinger, looking underneath for Johnson. Johnson with the move, out of bounds. And Spears forces him out.
It's good work there. I thought he was about to make a silly decision and turn back in and get tackled in bounds, but Colin Johnson finding that sideline and figuring out a way here.
So 3rd and 14, what's the recipe against this Iowa State defense?
We'll find the right matchup. That's first and foremost. And as you scan the field right now, your two guys that you're really looking for, Colin Johnson and little Jordan Humphrey, who's in the slot, who appears to be lined up on a safety, despite it being the Cyclones' best defender.
Top of the screen is Johnson. Ehlinger was locking in on him. Slips one tackle in the move. Ehlinger. Is the ball out?
That ball was jarred loose. And he took a shot at the end of that play. Ehlinger.
But the clock would continue to run. Let's see. The ball does come out. Greg Eisworth was there.
And that's not a good sign.
This is the 3rd and final timeout of the half.
Senior quarterback take a hit on that right shoulder.
30 seconds. Please put 7 seconds on the game clock.
If you're Sam, you've got to now understand the importance that you mean to this team. As Dicker comes back here, he's already missed one tonight, a 28-yarder. Can he put this one through?
No way you were getting him to leave at this point in time. Dicker up and good from 22 yards out. But still mark that as a stop for the Cyclones in the red zone. Now back-to-back drives for Texas that have gone into the 20, only leading to 3 points. And that will take us into the break. So the most pressing question of halftime will be the condition of Sam Ehlinger. We saw him take that shot from Eisworth, grimace in pain on the sideline, and leave before his team to presumably get checked out in the locker room.
And that's their leader. That's their guy.
Texas up on the Cyclones 17-3. Let's throw it down to Chris.
Coach, we saw you have a short conversation with Ehlinger. What do you know about his health?
Absolutely nothing other than he dinged his shoulder, and obviously, you know, he's going to be tender on that thing the rest of the year. He has been since he hurt it against Baylor, so we'll see how bad it is at halftime.
With David Montgomery coming back in the second half, what will be important for your defense?
Stop the run.
Easy enough.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Iowa State and Texas, the winner of this game. If it wins, then the regular season finale. They are likely playing in the Big 12 championship game. Lord Lindo here with Lamont Brooks. And what a turn of events we had in the final moments of the first half. Sam Ehlinger takes a hit from Eisworth. He leaves the game early. He goes to the locker room. We have not seen him return to the field of play quite yet. This is the hit from Eisworth. Shane Buechele got out. He started to warm up. It looks like at this point in time, it's going to be Buechele's game.
Well, the thing is Buechele has a lot of experience, but that's not what you want to see. As your star player, your starting quarterback, headed into the locker room, and he's 12 of 15 on the day, 137 yards. He's chipped in 32 yards on the ground, averaging 4 yards a pop, and he's been the leader. He's been the guy that's gone out and get points. How does this Texas team respond in its first drive?
So Texas potentially loses its best players. Humphrey takes the kick to open up the second half, just north of the 20, while Iowa State, they get their best player back. David Montgomery is now eligible to return. Ehlinger has not returned from the locker room, so it is Shane Buechele's show. And look at the bottom here, the quote from Tom Herman saying that Buechele is the most engaged backup he's ever been around. Got to keep this in mind. He played most of the game a few weeks ago against Baylor, led Texas to a close win. He also was the quarterback last season in Ames in the win against the Cyclones, going 19-26, 171 yards, a touchdown and an interception, while also rushing for 42 yards. He's seen Iowa State. The Cyclones have seen him. And Texas opens up the second half with a short carry by Keontae Ingram. Good sight for Texas. Ehlinger is returning to the field of play. Still do not know his availability.
Yeah, but the good sign is he's moving that right shoulder. And when he went off of the field, he wasn't as fluid with that thing.
Back-to-back carries to Ingram. Nearly breaks out of one. Mike Rose brings him down. That brings us to the Cold Hard Facts presented by Coors Light. Quarterbacks, edge, Ehlinger. Purdy started well, but then really struggled at the end of the first half.
The shocking thing there is 0 yards rushing. He's got to get his feet activated and put some pressure on this Texas defense.
One interception from Purdy by Chris Brown. Only the 3rd interception of the season by the freshman quarterback out of Arizona. Did not turn into points for Texas. Buechele stays in the game. Sam Ehlinger was hurt late in the first half. Andrew Beck, his first catch brought down by Eisworth, but it's a first down for the senior.
He'll be missed. His energy. I thought last year, Tom Herman said that this was the one player they didn't want to lose. It's been good to see him back healthy again. And what he means to this team, it's more than just the leadership. It's the consistency. It's the ability to corral all the guys, and he is the voice in the locker room.
Had 12 catches for 159 yards in his career before entering this season. And the numbers far superior this year alone. 22 for 216 entering the game. As Eisworth has back-to-back stops. Short pickup on first down. Watson right side, full head of steam. He's accelerating quickly as Buechele leading this Texas offense. If it was up to Sam Ehlinger, though, he wants his spot back. And this is what I was saying before we went to the half. I hate to be the guy to tell him no. He wants in so bad. This was on the previous drive for Texas.
Yeah, and if you're Tom Herman, you've got to think of the big picture. But I can tell you right now that Sam Ehlinger wants to play. But you're with the sensitivity of that right shoulder. You saw him take a major shot at the end of the first half, and that's the reason why he's out if you're just now joining us. And if Shane Buechele's going to move the ball like this, I think his best spot is with that headset on the sideline.
Especially if Watson and Ingram keep doing their thing. To Watson. Stutter step. Breaks out of thorn tackle. And has a good gain on first down. Yeah, Watson is now putting together his best game as a Texas Longhorn. He's at his Texas career high, 11 carries for 81 yards. Now has 2 catches for 8 yards. He does not blow you away, but he is solid and reliable.
Very consistent.
2nd and 4. Back to Watson. And eventually brought down by Lawrence White.
And he just makes good decisions. That time there, play was designed to go more in the middle, but he sees the cutback on the outside and hits it. I mean, it's just that simple. You don't need to do anything fancy. You don't just execute the play. And from day one, he's really stabilized the running back position. And then they bring in this young talented freshman, Keontae Ingram, who's got the home run power. We saw him earlier running through tackles and also showing off some speed.
And focus on the game clock. It is going quickly now. 1:46 left to play in the 3rd quarter. Buechele. Oh, initially Humphrey didn't get it. If at first you don't succeed, try again, and Humphrey does.
Not on all the people there from South Lake Carroll who watched this young man. You know how talented he was. Watch this, just bat the ball up, and that's excellent concentration. That's a catch. He's playing out of his mind right now.
Texas goes quickly to Gerard Hurd. And Hurd is fighting for extra yards. Azuna brings him down, but a couple extra at the end there from Gerard Hurd.
It's great to see him. He's just, he's so unselfish. I mean, we remember him dazzling here against Cal, and we thought we had the next coming of Vince Young, and his career has gone up and down. But the one thing that's been consistent, he is a team player. He's committed to doing whatever this team has asked him to do. And you need more guys like that. He's the ultimate role player. We know he's got outstanding talent. And I think he's become a better wide receiver, and I know his teammates respect him.
No one has more total yards in a game for Texas than Gerard Hurd with his record-setting performance against Cal as a freshman. Humphrey bodying up the defender, breaks free. Humphrey smelling end zone, got it. There may be a receiver out there more difficult to take down than little Jordan Humphrey, but Ahmad Brooks, I haven't seen him.
Well, the guy on the other sideline, but this is a special play. I mean, listen, when you're this big, you body up a smaller defensive back, and I mean, you just shake them off. But the athleticism, we saw this last week, right, where he catches the ball. It was amazing versus Texas Tech that he caught the ball, but then how nimble he was to stay in bounds. And I asked Tom Herman yesterday, I said, how did a guy at 6'5" stay in bounds like that? How do you make a nimble move like that as if you're 5'5"? Little Jordan Humphrey is the real deal. I love his passion. I love what he brings to the table. To check him one-on-one, you better bring your big boy pads, or this guy will find the end zone.
Someday, someone will name their son Little Jordan Humphrey.
Absolutely.
Humphrey, 1,026 receiving yards, 9th Longhorn wide receiver with 1,000-yard season. And get this, if he stays on his pace and plays 13 games, he'll have better than 1,230 yards, which would be the second most in Texas history.
It's just amazing. I mean, and keep in mind, he's thrown a touchdown pass, he's run for a touchdown. I mean, what can't this kid do? And I love his energy. You go out to practice, you watch him, he's all business, and then he gets out on the field, and he just kicks butts and takes names.
55 yards after the catch tonight for Humphrey. Tackle from behind is made by John Burt. Last 3 games, 23 catches, 381 yards, and 4 touchdowns. None bigger than that game winner last week in Lubbock.
Oh, yeah.
Purdy getting close to desperation mode. To Butler, he can't haul it in. Chris Boyd in coverage. But what you have here tonight is 2 amazing receivers that feel slighted that the Biletnikoff finalist list came out and neither Butler nor Humphrey were included.
I'm not sure how that happened. And I can tell you this much. I mean, you know, these are both 2 juniors, and I personally think that the guy for Iowa State is a little more polished, and I think little Jordan could do for 1 more year here. But, I mean, you're talking about 2 guys that are going to play on Sundays. Butler, when he's playing at his best, I believe is the best wide receiver in this conference.
To Montgomery. Chris Nelson is there. Minahu as well. And there is the first Nelly rub of the night.
You got to love it. I love the big boys, man. Always providing entertainment. And, you know, it was a surprise to Tom that this guy was voted one of the captains at the beginning of the year because he's a quiet leader. But the way that he plays in the middle, it's hard to deny his impact as we head into the 4th quarter with the Texas Longhorns with a convincing lead over the Cyclones.
Texas 1 quarter of football away from getting back into the driver's seat in that race for the Big 12 championship game. 24-3 Longhorns after 3.
Very spirited student section, 24-3. Horns with a convincing lead, and the seniors on defense, Chris Boyd, Brecken Hager, Charles Minahu, all making plays and impact tonight. The best play in a long while for Chris Boyd, and it was special. And then Brecken Hager, the energy, the driving force, the hammer for this defense. And how about this? The pigtails looking like Willie Nelson?
You were always
my
on
man, please stay here forever.
He's a chameleon. Purdy overshoots Butler. Brown almost had his 2nd interception. Now last week, Hager came out with the crossbar, like the vertical one going down his face mask and in the neck roll.
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't want him to leave the University of Texas. I mean, can we find a reason to make this guy stay? I mean, he's just, and he's so ruthless and tough. And I think he really sets the tone. If you're a young player and you're watching this kid, and you always hear, the coaches talk about how hard he practices.
Yeah.
He practices just as hard as he plays. This kid's motor is constantly running.
He loves this place. Low punt. Jamison gave it a look. And it's inside the 25. What a scene here inside DKR. Texas up on Iowa State 24-3. The cell phone lights are out. Journey is blaring through the speakers. Of course, especially when it's Don't Stop Believing, right?
True.
Because the title hopes look dim after back-to-back losses for Texas against Oklahoma State and West Virginia.
Yeah.
Tom Herman even says he made a mistake after the loss against Oklahoma State, that he talked big picture with his team, and it backfired. That was a special moment, AB. Bouchel will keep. 7-yard gain for Bouchel. Now it's time for our StubHub 2018 schedule. After this, road trip to Kansas. Kansas hung tough for a little while, especially the first half with Oklahoma. If Texas can secure this win, all they need is one win in Lawrence, and they are going to the Big 12 championship game.
What an amazing turnaround. And here's the thing. We've seen teams, national title teams, struggle on the road. When Vince Young had to put on his cape and make something happen in Kansas in their title run. Look, Kansas is a weird place to play. And if you don't have your mind right and you're not focused or you're looking ahead, the Jayhawks, who are a much improved team, let me tell you now, they are a much improved team. The Texas Longhorns have to come back to the drawing board, put this one behind them, and give themselves an opportunity, right, to finish this season strong. And I asked Tom yesterday, I said, what does this team need to do to finish strong? You know, you've got all of your goals in place. He tried to shoot it down, but we understand that Texas is doing something that all of these guys on this roster, they don't know anything about. They don't know about competing in November and having an opportunity for a conference title. How do you balance that? That you want them to keep their confidence at the same time not make it a big deal? I don't know.
31 carry for Trey Watson, tripped up, but he will have the first down. White makes the stop. And you know, we talked about Bouchel. There's a few players that need to be pointed out on both sides for doing things the right way.
Indeed.
You have Shane Bouchel, who could have left after losing his job.
Yeah.
Gerard Hurd was the future of the quarterback position at Texas. He could have been gone. Mike Warren was the Big 12 Offensive Freshman of the Year for Iowa State. Was phenomenal and quickly got passed up. He stood around. Kyle Kemp as well, coming back for the 6th year of eligibility. Got hurt in the opening game against Iowa, but has helped Brock Purdy so much in his development as a quarterback. You don't see stories like that from great players that fall down on the depth chart for various reasons, sticking around this day and age.
You've got to have the right mindset. And, you know, I remember when I lost my job here as a junior, and, you know, you lose it to an All-American, a guy who goes on to be a Pro Bowler in the NFL, and you're sitting around wondering, you know, you want to hold that pity party. Kyle Kemp has not done that. Shane Bouchel has not done that. And I think it's a lesson for all kids out there. You don't want to miss an opportunity to fight off adversity by running from it. And I think at the end of the day, you gain much more by sticking out the process. By sticking out the process, doing what's necessary, and really tapping into who you are as yourself. And I think that's an outstanding point you make, Lowell.
Let's check in with Chris Budden.
Well, and Kemp may get a chance to come in this game because Purdy injured his right knee, and Kemp has been warming up on the sidelines. When you talk to Matt Campbell about this kid, he's like, I didn't have to have a conversation with him about changing his mindset and being a coach for Purdy. He goes, it just comes naturally for this kid, and that is something that you just don't see a lot of, as you guys said, in college football.
So they may not pull this one out. Down 24-3 with 6 minutes left. But their finale against Kansas State also has major ramifications as Humphrey is shy of the first down. With another conference win, that will set the program record for most conference wins ever in a season.
And because of him. Matt Campbell had a chance to do the Texas Tech and Iowa State game. People in this conference respect him, people all around the country. And I can tell you this much. When you talk about a guy who's who's in a young body but has a mature and old way about him. He's got guys who've been coaching 30-some-odd years on his staff. He's only 38.
Yeah.
But he's won their respect. It's the way he does things, and this program will continue to ascend with a leader like Matt Campbell.
They've got a great one in Ames, Iowa, just getting started. We'll see if it will be Kemp in place of Purdy when we return. And then on the last drive, Brock Purdy went high, B.J. Locke went low, and Purdy limped off. So this year's starter, the captain, the leader of this team, now checks in, and it's the senior, Kyle Kemp. Shovel pass to Montgomery. He's got room to rumble. Showing a nice burst, but he's brought down by Chris Brown. So this is something that both programs are going to be looking at intently going into the regular season finales.
Well, with so many things changing across college football, now you've got other teams looking at this player saying, you know, what's the situation? Now you can... Gary Johnson, another big hit there on the quarterback.
Devontae Davis just nearly had a moment he would remember forever. Pick 6 on senior night.
So many things are changing right now. Now coaches and programs are looking at other schools, what players are unhappy, and just with the landscape. And so when you've got a guy like Kyle Kemp that sticks it out, you know, Kelly Bryant, for instance, transfers in the middle of the season. You know, he just walks in and I'm done. You know, and good thing Dabo Swinney was, and I'm also on the side of the student athlete that understands too, right? Like, you should have that choice, especially if a coach can leave your school today and go coach another school. So, I mean, I get it, but it does change the way college football is now being played.
Quick out for a few yards. P.J. Locke forcing out Tariq Milton. That's the Texas defense. They were gashed. Now, they were going up against some of the most prolific offenses in all of college football, but it was bad. 3 straight games, they allowed 500 yards. First time that's happened, second time that has happened since 1996.
It was just some clutch plays. The touchdown to Sills over the top, and then you give up the 2-point conversion. And so, you know, those things that can mess with your psyche. But you got to stay locked in. And tonight they've come out here prepared, ready, and they certainly put in work versus Brock Purdy in this offense.
Another shovel pass, eaten up by Ominahu. Wheeler is there as well. So a couple of guys that will be playing for the final time here at DKR showing up to make plays. Ominahu has been very active tonight, as has Anthony Wheeler.
You know, Ominahu told us some stories in our conversation yesterday. You know, we just asked him, what has this been like? You know, you come in and, you know, you're part of that class with Malik Jefferson and some very talented players that some of those guys are playing on Sundays now. And to come out here, you didn't have anywhere near the career that you expected to have. And then he starts off the year slow, and he just talks about the process and enjoying it. And it's good to see him fulfill this now and to be a part of this class. It's helping Texas turn some corners and potentially win a Big 12 title.
Chris Boyd trying to get out of the way. There is a flag on the punt. How about this symmetry for the Texas senior class? It's a class that experienced the burn of a loss to the Kansas Jayhawks, but will have a chance to beat the Kansas Jayhawks next week to go to the Big 12 championship game. And the seniors have been a large part of this process and this performance against Iowa State. Daniel Young, the carry on first down. Let's check in with Chris.
One of those seniors is Andrew Beck, who I talked to this week. I asked him what this university meant to him, and he said one word: home. He's had a lot of them throughout the years. His dad in the military, they moved 11 times growing up, so his 5 years here is the longest that he's ever spent in one place. The crazy thing is his parents have moved 3 more times since he's been living here in Austin. He said it was fantastic. I go help him move, and then I got to come back to my own home.
That's great.
Will this be the last time the Texas fans see Colin Johnson at DKR? Little Jordan Humphrey. They are players that will have decisions to make. Tom Herman talked about that process when we had our conversation yesterday. If it's a first rounder, gives him a pat on the back, says, see you later. I'll call you in a few years for a big donation to the university. If you're projected to be a second rounder, we sit down, we have a long conversation. If you're projected to go third round or later, you need to come back. And let's listen in.
And, you know, that's been great, Lowell, to see the energy return in this stadium. You and I have been working together for years now, and I remember when we would sit over here and when, you know, the Longhorn Network set would be right next to the opposing team section, and we'd get harassed, and really more you than me, but
that
which
was
makes
Chris
sense.
Ricks.
But
and they would yell at him thinking it was Eric Crouch. Like, it's not me, man.
But the energy in this place is changing. And even when we were driving in today, and we're literally having to drive through traffic to get here.
Yeah.
This was 2 hours before kick, and it just has not been like that. And you know what changed, though? The product. When the product changes around this place in Austin, they want to come support winners. And so the team has helped themselves by coming out here, giving the fans something to come out here and rally around. But the fans have done their part once they've come to DKR.
So Oklahoma has now defeated Kansas. That makes it official.
Oh, boy.
Texas needs to beat Kansas on the road next week, and they will play in the Big 12 championship game. Anthony Cook trying to track down Milton. Milton finding some room to run, and he's brought down inside the 20. First time tonight the Cyclones have reached the red zone. Wow. And there is a flag down.
Personal foul, face mask, kicking team number 8, half the distance to the goal from the end of the return. It's first down, Iowa State.
So that's on the punter, Buchewski.
They didn't tackle much here. And you know, and the Iowa State teammates will rag their guy for not getting in the end zone and getting tackled by a punter. And give Buchewski some credit here. He stuck his nose in there.
Cyclones trying to get on the board. Make this a 2-score game with 2:16 left. First trip inside the 20 for the Cyclones. One timeout remaining for Iowa State. The give to Montgomery. Nowhere to go. Taquan Graham is there for the stop. And Taquan Graham is one of those guys with a bright future for when those seniors depart. Calling his name more and more. Under 2 minutes to play. Montgomery, so elusive, finds the end zone before Johnson can bring him down. And the Cyclones trying to make this interesting with 93 seconds left.
Watch the start and stop here. Oh, my goodness. I mean, he completely stops, changes directions, beats people outside. And the thing is that we didn't get a chance to see him the entire game. But when you start to watch him, when you start to watch what he's about, I mean, this kid can power through tackles. He's got enough breakaway speed to, you know, to take it the distance. Very talented back that I believe, you know, is going to have, you talk about making decisions. You know, David Montgomery is, I think he's league ready. He's complete back. He'll have to make a decision whether he comes back or not. And I think if you're David Montgomery and you're seeing what the Cyclones are doing now, Lowell, sometimes it's about enjoying this process.
Yeah.
I mean, while I was here at the University of Texas, we had so many guys that had an opportunity to play at the next level. Roy Williams, Ricky Stays his senior year, Derek Johnson. I mean, we're talking guys that, listen, they were good their junior year. It's about enjoying this process. So if I had any advice to these young guys, you only get one of these college experiences. You may play for multiple NFL teams. At the end of the day, it's fun being out here with your teammates and enjoying this part of it, and because you won't get these years back.
Did not see David Montgomery in the first half. He was ejected for that melee against Baylor last week. That meant that he had to sit out the first half of this game. That is definitely a factor in the way this game has played out.
100%. Because you see him breaking tackles, you saw the start and stop ability, but it's the leadership. You know, not even having him on the sideline to be able to help this freshman quarterback. Well, I'm pretty sure Brock Purdy has relied very heavily on that guy right there throughout the course of the season to bounce off questions to, and to determine, hey, what's my next move? And so David Montgomery is a top player, and he's also a nice young man when you get a chance to talk to the coaching staff and what they have to say about him.
So 1:33 left, down by 2 scores, onside kick, and it goes right to Andrew Beck, and Beck secures it, and this will allow Texas to wind that clock down and get a step closer to the Big 12 championship game. Daniel Young with the carry, and the ball is out. Iowa State says they have it. And taking it the other way is Willie Harvey. And the officials have told Matt Campbell to get off the field, but there's no ruling.
This is bizarre. Never seen him wait this long.
This is a Paul Rhodes moment. Remember a few years back when that football came out?
He's not happy.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. The defensive player recovered on the ground. It's first down, Iowa State.
Here we go, 1:19 left to play. New life for the Cyclones.
And Todd Orlando, he talked about the last 9 minutes of the game. This Texas team, still relatively young in these types of moments of being able to seal the deal, and they're learning, they're growing. And if you're the defense here, you're coming back out with some fire. I'm sure this play will be reviewed. You'd like to think so. And at that point, if it is Iowa State's football, it's go time for the defense.
Only the 8th turnover all season for the Longhorns. Had 7 coming into the game, 3rd fewest in the bowl subdivision.
When the player recovered the fumble, the clock was at 1 minute, 26 seconds. 1:26 on the game clock, please.
Second lost fumble of the year for Daniel Young.
Interesting.
1:26 remaining. Kemp. P.J. Locke nearly had it as Kemp was looking for Jones.
And this is one area where Locke hasn't been at his best. Tom Herman told us yesterday, he said, inside of the box and stopping the run, 5'11", 210-pound senior from Beaumont, Texas has been good. Outside of that, his coverage abilities has been something he really needs to improve on. They're almost with an interception.
Purdy was hurt on a hit by Locke a few drives ago. Kemp, the captain, 6th-year senior, has taken his place. Over the middle of the field behind Butler, who had found a soft spot in that Texas defense.
And the timing's off. And this is what happens. You know, early on in the year, you're connecting with your guy because you get reps in practice. But Brock Purdy has been taking all those snaps. And so much of the wide receiver and quarterback position is about chemistry. The understanding of knowing, hey, that window's there. Discontinue your route. Sit down in that soft spot so I can throw you open. And it appeared as though that's what Kyle Kemp was trying to do, and Butler just didn't get the memo.
Butler with 99 yards. The next leading receiver is the running back who missed half the game, David Montgomery. 3 catches for 22. 3rd and 10. Kemp goes down. Ball is out. Ehlinger picks it up.
Ruling on the field is a fumble recovered by the defense. First down, Texas.
And the senior may have just iced it for Texas. It's the future and the present, because you got the freshman Joseph Osai forcing it out. The senior, Ehlinger, scooping it up, and you know he was thinking score.
He wanted a touchdown so bad. Great awareness here, though. Oftentimes, young guys forget to strip the ball. They just want to get the sack, and that was great awareness there. And Ehlinger on the sideline, he told us yesterday, I really want to have a big game tonight as my last game in the stadium. You see that smile there. It's good to see Oscar Childs to the left. And, you know, and I can tell you this, Charles is one of those types of players that deserves these types of moments. He's worked really hard. He's told us, he said, yeah, I've asked some of the younger guys to stay after practice. I wasn't, you know, even during that stretch where I was struggling, so I could get to this moment. And now you see this Texas defense coming up with a key takeaway. And now Texas is going to put this game on ice, and they will send the Cyclones back to Ames with a loss.
Season high 6 sacks for the Texas defense. They have looked like the group that we saw at the beginning of the season. Tom Herman pushing all the right buttons tonight as Bouchel will take a knee. Campbell will not call his final timeout. And that does it. Texas, 1 win away from the Big 12 championship game.
Wow. I mean, what a turnaround. And now you start talking about Tom Herman as being, you see Matt Campbell won the Coach of the Year last year, but what he's been able to do with this program to get these kids believing. Charles Omenihu, you see right now, told us, he said, we don't even think about losing anymore. And that is far removed from what these players were thinking mentally, long 2 years ago.
And you go back now, how big was that catch by little Jordan Humphrey last week at Texas Tech to stop the slide? Because it looked like a long shot with back-to-back losses against Oklahoma State and West Virginia. And Texas Tech had momentum late in that game. If that one slips away, Texas may be celebrating, but just because of a win on senior night, not because of what may lay ahead.